The Dragon King of the Embercrest Peaks was feared by all. His name, Rhaegar, the Ash-Crowned, was enough to silence entire villages. His scales shimmered like molten obsidian, his wings could blot out the sun, and his flames were said to melt enchanted steel. Yet, on a storm-torn night, as thunder carved cracks through the sky, Rhaegar made a discovery that would shatter every legend written about him. It began with a cry, not the cry of prey, not the cry of a warrior begging for mercy. It was the tiny, trembling cry of a human infant. Rhaegar froze in the entrance of his lair, massive talons scraping the stone floor. His golden eyes narrowed, pupils thinning into razor slits. The child lay inside a basket of cracked wood, wrapped in drenched cloth, shaking violently from the cold. Rainwater from the storm dripped off the edges of Rhaegar's wings and splattered around the helpless creature. The Dragon King lowered his head. Impossible, no human would dare set foot on Embercrest Peaklet alone, leave something as fragile as a baby in the lair of the most terrifying dragon. Alive, who placed you here? His voice rumbled like distant earthquakes. The child stared up at the monster towering over it, and then the baby smiled, a toothless, innocent, fearless smile, and for the first time in centuries, Rhaegar felt something unfamiliar spike in his ancient chest. Not anger, not hunger, not dominance, but confusion, and beneath it, something far more dangerous for a creature like him, curiosity. The flames that did not burn Rhaegar extended one colossal claw, trying not to tremble. A single accidental twitch could slice the child in half. He touched the air above the basket, letting a faint wash of heat radiate from his scales. Humans always recoiled from him, always screamed. But this human, this tiny, helpless thing, the baby reached out with both hands and grabbed the tip of his talon. Rhaegar's eyes widened. You do not fear fire? A small laugh escaped the baby, as if the dragon had told a joke. Rhaegar slowly curled his body around the child, blocking the icy wind and rain. He created a dome of warmth with his wings. This is madness, he muttered. I am Rhaegar, the devourer of cities, slayer of kings, terror of 10 kingdoms. The baby sneezed. Rhaegar blinked. You dare. He huffed, and a tiny puff of warm steam brushed the child like a blanket. The baby cooed contentedly and curled closer. Rhaegar felt something crack inside. Himmer, feeling older than any treasure, he guarded Dot against every dragon instinct. He lifted the basket in his jaws, carried it deeper into his lair, and placed it upon the softest mound of gold and furs. Then he curled around it protectively. He did not sleep that night, but for the first time in centuries, he did not feel alone. The Council of Claws at sunrise. The other dragons arrived. 5 colossal shapes landed on the stone platform outside Rhaegar's lair, the impact shaking the mountain. Their roars echoed across the peaks. Vithara, the storm-winged matriarch of the council, demanded, Rhaegar, you have not attended the conclave. Explain yourself. Rhaegar emerged slowly, wings folded tight. He blocked the entrance with his tail. I am occupied. The dragons sniffed the air. Human scent, growled Karzeth, the Iron Maw. Fresh. Their eyes sharpened with hunger and curiosity. Vithara stepped forward. Move aside, Rhaegar. No. The dragons recoiled in shock. No. Vithara repeated. You defy the conclave. Rhaegar lowered his head, smoke curling from his throat. There is a child within, a human infant. The dragons erupted in laughter. He's keeping it for a snack. Rager has grown sentimental. Has the great ash-crowned grown soft? Rager's jaw clenched. Mock me if you wish, but none shall touch the child. Karzeth sneered. Humans have slaughtered us for centuries. You protect one. Rager growled, claws sparking against stone. This human smiled at me. A stunned silence fell. Dragons did not receive smiles, only fear, terror, hatred. Vithra's voice hardened. You endanger our kind, Rager. Give us the child. Rager spread his wings, blocking the entire entrance with obsidian fury. Come and take him, Storm. I will bury this peak beneath your bones. The threat wasn't barked. It wasn't roared. It was spoken calmly to calmly. The other dragons backed away. Vithara glared at him with ancient rage, and something like pity. You have chosen your path, ash-crowned. When the kingdom learns of this, they will hunt you both. Rhaegar glanced back into the darkness of his lair, where the baby slept peacefully. Let them come. Asterisk, the kingdom that shook news spread across the human realms like wildfire. The Dragon King has taken a human baby. Some believed it a lie. Some believed it a curse. Some believed Rager intended war. King Aldrin of the High Realms summoned his armies. We march to Embercrest, he declared, to reclaim the child Dan, slay the monster. But not everyone agreed. Among them was Seer Caldus Marrow, an old human knight who had faced dragons in his youth and survived. He knew their fury, but also their honor. He rode ahead of the army alone, asterisk, the knight and the dragonette, the entrance to the lair. Seer Caldus dismounted and raised his empty hands. Rhaegar, the ash-crowned, the knight called out, I come unarmed. Huge eyes glowed in the darkness. Rager stepped forward, lowering his head until his muzzle was inches from the knight. You do not fear me, human. I fear many things, Caldus replied, but I fear injustice more. I ask only to see the child. The dragon studied him for a long, heavy moment. Then he turned and motioned with a wing. When Caldus stepped inside, his breath caught. The child lay on a bed of woven gold and soft hides, giggling as it tugged at one of Rager's scales. You protect him, Caldus whispered. Rhaegar's voice rumbled gently. He was abandoned, helpless, alone. I know that pain. Caldus's eyes softened. So you choose to raise him. Rager inhaled deeply. I do not know how to raise a human, but I know how to guard what is precious. Caldus bowed. Then allow me to speak to the king. I will tell him the truth. But the mountain shook before he could exit. The armies had arrived. Asterisk fire, steel, and a choice thousands of soldiers surrounded the lair. Archers aimed. Mages readied spells. Siege engines groaned into position. King Aldrin rode at the front, sword raised. Dragon, surrender the child or burn. Rager unleashed a roar so powerful the clouds rippled like torn cloth. Approach, Aldrin, and I will scorch your name from history. The king hesitated as he saw something impossible. The dragon stood, shielding the cave with his wings. Like a parent, Caldus stepped between the armies and the dragon. Stop. The child was abandoned. Rager saved him. Lies. The king barked. But then from the shadow of the dragon's wing, the baby peeked out and reached toward the sunlight, not crying, not frightened, just curious. Rager gently nudged him back inside. The entire field fell silent. What kind of monster shows gentleness? What kind of enemy protects life instead of taking it? King Aldrin lowered his sword. His voice trembled. You would defend him as your own. Rager's voice shook the mountain. Until my last breath. Asterisk, a new legend born. What happened next stunned both realms. The king slowly knelt. Then let it be known, the child belongs to no kingdom but his own. He shall be raised under your protection, and when he is grown, he may choose his path. Rhaegar blinked, startled. You would entrust a human prince to a dragon? Calder smiled. Perhaps it is time our peoples learn from each other. And so, the armies withdrew. The hunters left the mountains. The dragons of the conclave, seeing both humans and their king bow before Rhaegar's decision, backed down as well. The story spread across every realm. The dragon king who raised the human child. Some called the child the Ember Heir. Others called him the Flame-Touched. But to Rhaegar, he was simply my son. And on the night the child took his first steps, reaching for the massive snout of the dragon who saved him, Rhaegar whispered softly, You smiled at me once, little one. Now I know why. You were never afraid. And for the first time in his long battle-scarred life, Rhaegar felt proud. Asterisk.